Hi friends, thank you so much for being here with me today. I appreciate you watching. Today I'm calling this meditation, Who Created God? I remember thinking as a child when I learned that the universe was infinite. I couldn't understand that. I wanted to know what was at the end. It's a bit like conceiving of a rainbow like a U, and you think it's got an end, but truthfully a rainbow is a circle. It has no end. And in that vein, we've created in our minds this image of a God who made the universe. And this Western view of God has done us great disservice, because then it begs the question, who made God? So let's start with the idea of a creator making the universe, like a potter that makes pottery, or a watchmaker who makes a watch. Think about that image for a minute. Our version of creation is actually recreation. Humans don't make anything out of nothing. What we make is already here. This house, for example, is 100 years old, but it's made out of a tree. The tree was here first. So arguably, everything that humans make on a creative level are recreative things, so they're recreation. And the way that we imagine a God crafting the universe is misleading. Where does he get the materials from? The raw materials. And we skirt by this little issue like it's no big deal. Oh yeah, God just got that out of nothing. And it begs the question, what is this nothing out of which God created the universe? Are you not curious about that? If God reached into the realm of nothing, it means that God himself is a created being. You have to spend some time with that little tiny detail. Because what it does is it says, God created the universe, as if there's a difference between God and the universe. And God created me, as there's a difference between me and God. You see where this is a problem? We have to get behind the notion of where thoughts come from. It feels as though a thought just appears out of something we call thin air, out of the blue. It just came to me. And nobody seems to be curious about where thoughts come from. What is this separation that I can't see on the other side of, where my thoughts come from? As if there's some kind of free thought bank that I reach in and get, as if I'm doing something. You see how crazy that is? Most of our versions of God creating the universe would imply that God had to reach into an area of the universe called nothing, or that there's an outside to the universe, or that there is something truly foreign and alien. I'm sure that if there were life on other planets, it would be very familiar to us. See, everything is familiar, even the so-called unfamiliar. It's family. It's connected. I'd like to introduce you to a word that is used often in religion, and that is begotten. And this would go along the lines of Chinese philosophy, that nature is a product of itself, just this happening. Jesus himself, in some obscure passage in Matthew, said that the earth is a product of itself. Even in the Nicene Creed it says, God from God, light from light, true God from true God, begotten, not made. And we skirt through that without really thinking about the image of making something. Is really recreating, recreating. When composers write music, they use 12 notes, and the notes have been here all along. The vibrational sounds in the universe have been here forever. The colors that a painter uses, and the paints and the oils, the flaxseed oil that was used in the Renaissance to paint these beautiful paintings, that's all here already. And think about that. As if something and nothing are different. I create something out of nothing. God created the universe. Out of what? God. Think about it. This idea of the universe becoming this tiny speck called a particle, P-A-R-T. In that moment, the one became many. And two and one are wedded together in ways we can't understand, but they need each other. Nothing and something are together. There's nothing alien or foreign. Waste? Everything on the planet that you see has been here already. It's here. It's made out of itself. And you are a product of the universe. And this seeming duality that we have, like, how can you be the speaker and the listener at the same time? That doesn't... How can you harm yourself? You can pinch yourself. You can be the abuser and the abused at the same time. See, we're not aware of this. All we see is division. We see other people doing things to ourselves. We see other people as the cause of our problems. We see others as something not me. But you know what? If you hold up a mirror to a mirror, all of a sudden you see the truth. You see a bunch of mirrors. You see infinity. It's like putting a camera into a monitor. It just... You see the beginning and ending of time simultaneously. That's because you're a mirror looking into the mirror. When you look into nature, you're looking at infinity. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you're looking at infinity. Timeless. That you, the entity that looks out through the eyes, are outside of time and space itself. And death is an illusion. And the idea of you as a separate individual are an illusion. This idea of a particle. What's on the outside of the particle? If the universe could be fit on a thumbtack at the beginning of time, what was all around it? Nothing? Oh, come on. Negative space is not absence of intelligence. It's pretense. The book of Genesis talks about it as the face of the deep is covered in darkness. That's you. What you can't see, what you don't know, it's you. And if you have a model of a God that created you, you are afraid not. A knot that has been torn apart. Frayed, a rope that's been frayed. F-R-A-I-D-K-N-O-T. But then you realize it all comes together in you. You are afraid not. A-F-R-A-I-D-N-O-T. As if God made you. All we know is I am. And that's all we need to ever know. Because that's all there is. If you're afraid, if you're struggling, if you're suffering, it is just that you are caught up in the illusion that there is something other than yourself. That the universe is something other than itself. And the negative space has a brain that can overtake you. When a spiritualist says, you're not the ego, you're not your stories, you're not the pain, that is a clever way of saying you're everything. There is no God is the same as saying there is a God. The atheists and the people who are trying to prove the existence of God are arguing the same point. In the world of duality, we can't separate them. But I can tell you one thing. Nothing is something, and something is nothing. Who created God? It implies that the universe has an end, an ending, a cliff. You really think that? Are you afraid not? All frayed out? Separated? Are you not afraid? Yes, the face of the dark, the face of the deep is covered in darkness, yes. But the mirror is looking at itself. It's infinite. It's begotten, not made. It's all an amazing amalgamation of truth. So where there appears to be two, there is one. I know. You can't think of one. You can't think of one because it excludes all the other numbers. And God does not exclude. God is I am. You have to ponder that. If you believe in a God that made the universe, you got a problem. Because you're going to have to answer to where the materials came from to make this place. You can't explain it away by just skirting through that. I want to know. Who governs the land of nowhere? Nothing. Think about that. It's okay to challenge your ideas of God. It's time to think new. It's time to think broadly. It's time to become not afraid, rather than afraid out not. Just twist it up. See you next time, and thank you for watching.